Welcome back to the Smugglers Den. I'm your host, Tiny Grimes. This is episode 38. Wow, staggering. We're brought to you every week by swdestiny.com. You can go there for all your Destiny needs. Make sure you check out Patreon, Tiny Grimes, all that's going on over there. My new tier list should be going up. We have a Discord channel with piles of people talking Destiny all night and all day, having a great time. And I want to welcome in this week our guest, Elrathion. I believe you are a 27-time Store Champ winner, is that correct?
Give or take.
Okay. Am I correct or not in knowing that you have flown to 42 states for Store Championships?
Okay, neither confirm nor deny.
All right. Well, the man is a well-accomplished Store Champion. I often sit at home and go, does Elrathion just play against the worst players in the country, or is he the best player in the country? And I don't know the answer to this question. Maybe
That's
somewhere
my
in between.
strategy.
Maybe is it somewhere in between?
Probably.
Okay. All right. Well, Elrathion, you are hosting a really awesome tournament, and if you've been on Facebook, you've probably seen it plugged 1,000 times. But I want you to plug it one more time here because it is such a cool event.
Yeah, so this Saturday we're hosting the first online store championship. And it's going to be really exciting. Right now we already have over 60 pre-registrations, and I'm thinking we're going to get about 70 or 80 before Saturday. So 25% of the participants so far come from outside of the U.S., so you're going to have a real diverse field, and you're going to be able to test your mettle against all kind of different metas. So I think it's going to be an amazing tournament with great prize support.
Yeah, what kind of prizes do you have? Because I know you have all kinds of cool stuff. Let's get people hyped up for this thing.
So every participant gets Match Raider Technician from Artificery.
Okay.
You can only get those if you participate in our events. So then, at a very minimum, there's going to be 8 Phasma playmats for the top 8. For Phasmas, the most original deck-making top cut is going to win a Gencon, Kylo, and Rey.
Is that a trap? Is that a trap? Are you trying to trap people into bringing bad decks so I can sneak in and win this thing? I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I mean, the top prizes get cash. The top spots get cash. So I mean, there's enough incentive to go around. There's top 2s get Monmouth, get cash. San Diego, Luke, and Vader are going to be raffled off. Team Covenant weekend, Luke, etc., etc. So all in all, I think over $1,200 worth of prize support easily.
Wow, this sounds like an amazing tournament. And just to be clear, this is going to take place on the Tabletop Simulator. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. And
10:30 PST or Pacific time, I should say, so nobody confuses with daylight or whatever it is. I don't live in California, but yeah.
You said 12:30 Pacific this Saturday?
No, 10.
10:30 Pacific this Saturday.
10:30 Pacific. Yep.
So, Elrathion, I have a favor to ask of you. Could
Sure.
you call my wife and tell her there is an emergency that morning and that she really needs to bring the kids with her and give her a location that's several hours away so that she drives there with them, and then by the time she comes back, the tournament is over?
We can arrange that.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much. So I think this is going to be a really important tournament because, I think this is the biggest Store Championship we've seen. Is that correct? Can you think of another one bigger than this?
I can't think of it, especially, I mean, we're already 60 plus, but there's still 2 days.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking a couple of procrastinators are going to come out of the woodworks 5 minutes before Saturday.
I think people listening to this podcast may come out of the woodworks for this tournament. What's the entry fee?
I hope so. It's $15.
$15, okay. All right, so first of all, it's the biggest tournament. Second of all, this is right before Gen Con with like a pretty established meta. I think this is going to be the most important tournament we've had in SOR, really setting us up for Gen Con. I know we had the online league tournament, but that was with really unrefined decks early on. So I think this is going to be a pretty big deal for getting a good look at what you can expect at Gen Con.
Yeah, that's really the hope. Like this is, we want this tournament to kind of set the barometer for potentially doing even bigger events online in the future. And so I'm really excited to see that people are as excited about it as I am. And we just really want to take it to the next level for the next Store Championship season.
Nice. And also, just to be clear, there's actually a buy on the line as well, right, for regionals?
Yeah,
All
it's a
right.
full-fledged everything you would get in the Store Championship, a lot more. You can attest to that, and I can as well. How sometimes you can go to the Store Championship, pay $15 and get no prizes, except
I wouldn't know
the
that.
fast.
I win all mine, man. Not like you,
No,
where I get like
even I mean,
20.
what I'm saying is like you pay $15 and you just get the kit and nothing else.
Yeah, that
right?
happened at 2 of them. One of them, I got a nice sizable prize. The other 2, I got nothing. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. I got an awesome shirt from one of them.
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. It's a store champ on the back. It's pretty cool. I'd
That's-
like to add something to the prize pool if you don't mind. Right here,
oh,
right here, right now. It's pretty small, but the winner has an open invitation to join me on the Smugglers Den for an interview about how they did, their prep, that kind of stuff. So if the winner is interested, there you go. Add to the prize pool, man.
that's a good prize.
And I will give you my hat. No. I won't give you my hat.
Oh, that would be epic.
Can't give you the
Like
hat,
a
man.
play
What are you,
for
crazy?
Tiny's hat. Oh my god.
I'm gonna raffle
gonna
this
be
bad
200
boy off
people.
for $9,000. All right, Elrathion. Well, let's move on from this awesome tournament to talk about another awesome tournament. I want to talk first about the format of Gen Con. So the rumor mill is churning, and what I'm hearing is cut to top 16, and with this massive crew of people, you better be 7-1 or you are not making the cut. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I have strong opinions about FFG's tournament structures to begin with. So.
How awesome they are? Is it how awesome they are?
No.
Oh, what? I was hoping you would take me the first person to say how awesome they are.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Reminds me a little bit of Euros. Like, didn't they like spend how I forgot how they spent like 10 rounds or something, or 11 rounds
Yep.
on one day.
Yep. But at least they did 10 rounds of Swiss, so there's a little more room for error. Like, in some other game, maybe you could set it up where you just have to go 7-1. It gives you one room for a problem game. But Destiny, man, you know this as well as I do. You can be the better player, and it doesn't matter sometimes. You're going to lose a game or two just because it's Destiny. And that is going to be a hard pill to swallow when you lose 2 games on God rolls, and then you're like, well, I'm out. That's awesome.
Yeah. You're right. I really hope they start to revisit the tournament structure. Hopefully Gencon will be a good lesson for them. And
yeah, it's tough to be clear though when they're at a place like Gen Con. They have X amount of space, X amount of time. It's not like they can just do it as long as they want. And they've done really wonky things at Gen Con in the past. I went there and played Game of Thrones one year, and every Game of Thrones tournament, the rounds are an hour. Decks are built for this. Everything's built for this. We get there, and they're just like, by the way, rounds are 50 minutes today. And everyone's like, wait, what? Are you joking? Like, I have a deck that takes like 59 minutes to win, and rounds are 50 minutes? You can't just spring that on a person. But
that's funny.
they did. All right. So let's backtrack away from the format then. I want to ask you, just what are you playing right now, Elrathion? You're not going to Gen Con. Are you playing in your own tournament this weekend?
No, I'm not.
Are you going to Nova?
Probably not.
Okay. So to be clear, with Spirit of Rebellion, you have nothing on the line. You've won plenty of store champs. So what are you playing these days?
I like to just switch up my decks 24/7. So
Sure.
I've been having a lot of fun with Luke Ray and Obi Ray lately. That's probably some of my favorite decks to play right now.
All right. Yeah, I'm really jealous of you actually. Like for Worlds, everyone was like, "I'm just all in on this one deck," and I was like, "Spirit of Rebellion comes out tomorrow, right? Like I'm already building Spirit of Rebellion decks, having fun over here. What are you doing?" And now I'm in that, deep into the Gen Con prep and just trying to whittle it down to the one deck for next week. By the way, man, can you believe this? It's next week. That's crazy.
So the question is, how much are you going to pay me to give you all the top lists?
Wow, man. Do you take pesos? And is 5 enough?
No, yeah, we won't do that. But yeah, we even had people participate, like joining Saturday. Were like that we had to agree not to stream because
Oh,
they're
really?
taking it very, yeah, they're taking it very serious, and so they want to
Okay.
make sure that they can get their practice in. But
But they
we'll be
don't.
respective of that.
It's
And
very interesting that you would agree to that they get to keep their deck secret at a major public event. Very interesting.
yeah, well, it's a week before Gen Con, and
Sure.
sometimes if you want to attract some of the top players,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be a little bit lenient. So
Concessions are
I
made.
understand. Yeah, I understand the sentiment, but it's going to be very interesting for me because I'm going to be the only one who has access to like the pot of gold.
Ooh.
see,
Ooh.
see all
All
the
right.
goodies.
Time to get some hackers in there. My hacking skills are really good. I took one programming class 70 years ago.
Mm.
So, yeah, it was with rocks. All right. So I got a question for you then. What would you take to Gen Con if you were going? What's the deck where you would be like, yeah, I think this is the deck that's going to win Gen Con?
You know, you would think that after having played like 7 different decks in store championships, I would know the answer,
Okay.
but I don't.
That's fair.
Like it's like uh, uh, I could tell you that it probably would be a 3 character. No, no, I wouldn't even say probably.
Okay.
It would be a 3 character list.
All right. So we're looking at FN decks. We're looking at Phasma. Anything else you would throw in that pile of 3-character decks?
Yeah, it'd probably be that. Something with FN and something with Phasma, I think.
Okay. So you would be villainous. You'd be playing lots of upgrades, and you'd be swinging lots of dice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it probably would be Ankar. Just because, just from my playstyle, I'm more of a kind of like a person that likes to have a plan B or a plan C.
Yeah.
And I don't like to play decks that are just like all or nothing, especially in big events.
Yep, I agree. It's one of the reasons why Funkar is by far my favorite deck. It can do so many different things. It can squeeze you for resources. It can throw weapons on 9s. It can control the board. Like, it can do whatever it needs to do. It can just remove all your dice. Like, whatever it needs, that's what it's got.
Yeah.
All right. Well, your answer leads me into my next question, which is, what do you think about the current meta? Where, a month after the Fast Hands nerf, do you think we're in a problem spot, or are you fairly satisfied with the meta?
My issue with the meta is not necessarily variety in terms of absolute number of decks, but my biggest problem is that I feel that the nerfs have even increased the discrepancy between hero and villain, if that was even possible. And so, if
Yeah.
you're a villain player, like I've won with 6 different villain lists, so there's plenty of variety.
Sure.
But I don't think I could do that. I know I couldn't do that with 6 different hero lists. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. If you could, you would be the best player in Destiny. It would not be debatable. Yeah, I guess I agree with all of that. I actually feel like the meta is in an amazing spot right now. I got a real wake-up call in my testing yesterday. I was testing a couple decks that I really like, and I lost to a Mill deck. I lost to a Palpatine deck. And I was like, these aren't even really in my gauntlet. These are just like way on the fringes of my gauntlet. And even these decks are competitive? What is happening right now? So I feel like there's at least 10 good lists, but you're right. Only one is hero, and that's Pomaz.
You lost to a Mill deck.
Yeah.
Does that make you the worst player in the world?
I was a little surprised, man. I mean, it did go really badly for me, but still, I lost to a Mill deck, and I was sad.
Wow.
I was really sad. Yeah, it
I
was a
can
bad
imagine.
day. Like, it was a good day from the perspective of you want to lose games during your testing to see where weaknesses are and to shore up problems, but you don't want to lose games to decks that aren't supposed to beat you, right? You're like, I don't know anything. Are any of these decks good? Should I just bring a Mill deck? I don't know.
Well, before the fast hand nerf, I played a tournament in Des Moines, Iowa, and one of the guys, if you don't know, Des Moines, Iowa is the birthplace of One Punch Vader.
Ooh, I didn't know it. That's where his
Yeah.
birthplace was.
And so, so I came there with my Encore Fen deck, and what do you know, my very first round is against One Punch Vader. And let me tell you, it was bad.
Did it wreck you?
Oh, like I won by one card.
Okay, so you did get there, but it was close.
But it was, I mean, I 70% of the scenarios I would have lost that. Like it was so close, and so I can definitely see maybe this lurking Mill deck if they can just assassinate your hand.
Yep.
With blackmail, that could be problematic.
Yeah, for sure. I also agree with what you said with heroes, and I think it goes beyond heroes. I think the difference with this meta and previous metas is not that there aren't a lot of tier 1 decks. There's tier 1 and tier 1.5 decks. There's lots of them. But I think the difference is in previous metas, I always said you can bring a tier 2 deck to a tournament and it can win. Like, that's a realistic scenario. It's right on the heels of tier 1. And I feel like that gap has widened substantially where, yeah, Luke Raydeck can theoretically win, but in a field of Nines decks and Palpatine decks and Pomaz, the odds are very, very small now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about with Gen Con? Would you feel like you were ready if you were going to Gen Con, or do you feel like you haven't done any prep and you don't care because you're not going?
I think I probably would do pretty good regardless. Obviously, if you go to Gen Con, then, like you said, you're just trying to find that one list that you feel more comfortable with, which I didn't do. I just was like, okay, I know I'm not going, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to play every list,
That's been my problem is I've played every list because I was looking, and now it's a week away, and I'm like, oh, wow, I am not ready for Gen Con at all. Like, I have a couple lists that I'm good with, but I still don't feel like I have mastery, like complete mastery over any one list. So I've got a week to really get that together. I'm hoping that those pay events at Gen Con will help as well. Just playing in some more events. Sure.
I'll say one thing though. If you're like a one-trick pony that is like really good with some decks that are less popular, and even maybe Phasma. I mean, Phasma's gaining popularity, but it's not at the level of Pomaz or Rainbow or anything like that.
Yeah.
But if that's kind of your deck, or Han Ray, like if that's your deck, like there's a few people out there in the Destiny world that are just Han Ray gods. Like 80% of the people could not win tournaments with Han Ray right now. There's a couple of them out there, that's just what they play.
Yep.
Like this Saturday, I know Enigma's going to join. The guy's been playing Han Ray since the first league in Season 1. And he's still playing Han Ray today. So if people are, people like that have a good shot at surprising
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah, you got to admire that about him. He's just like, this is my deck. I'm just going to keep iterating on it. I'm really curious to see how long he sticks on it. If we're on like set 5, and he's like, no, man, it's Han-Rei. It's still Han-Rei. It will always be Han-Rei. And then when rotation finally comes, Enigma's like, I'm out. I am out. Han-Rei is gone. I am gone.
If they don't nerf Ray before that.
Yeah, we'll all be sad. But yeah, we had a local Han-Rei player who was really good with it, and he dropped it for Spirit of Rebellion, and he hasn't done as well in Spirit of Rebellion. Like, Han-Rei was really his bread and butter, and I always wonder, like, what if he had just stuck with it? Yes, people would have thought it wasn't the best deck, but, you know, if you're really good at it, you're really good at it.
Mm.
All right, let's move on to some spoilers. I don't know if you noticed, man. Yesterday, I posted some spoilers on my on the Tiny Grimes YouTube channel, and got some kind of cool stuff in there. Would you like to take a look at them with me?
Sure.
All right, let's do that. Well, Vader's TIE Fighter came up just immediately, so let's just talk about it. This is definitely the coolest one I got. Have you had a chance to really take a look at it?
Yeah, I
All right,
have.
so we've got a 4-cost blue villain support vehicle. Its sides are 2 guns, 3 guns for $1, plus 3 guns, 2 shields, special blank. The special is amazing in the mid to late game. It says, spend 2 resources to deal damage to a character equal to the damage on it. So, Palpatine has 8 damage on him, 2 resources in a special. Bye, Palp. Nice knowing you.
It's an amazing vehicle.
What do you like best
really
about
love
it? Obviously, the special's amazing.
The special.
Okay. All right. So is that where it
Yeah.
is for you? Because, like, when I look at it compared to Slave 1. They both cost 4. Slave 1's dice, its die is way better in every way, except for it doesn't have the game-ending special side.
Yeah, and I think that's relevant because, you know, we haven't seen all the cards from set 3, but you can imagine that at some point they'll release something that readies vehicles for villain,
Yeah.
like Hero already has, or maybe there's some kind of, I don't know, hit and run effect or something where a vehicle gains ambush. So I can imagine down the line there's going to be ways where, you know, that just comes in and you have no story against it and it just ends your game.
The problem is that's a 1 in 6 still. And we do have that already with Tactical Mastery and 4 speed, but still it's a 1 in 6.
Yeah, I think like there's plenty of decks already that can generate a boatload of resources.
Yeah.
The deck that I would, you know, you're gonna find it strange, but I like to see Vader sty in like a Kylo Tron deck.
Kylo Thrawn. I don't even know what this deck is.
Yeah, like because Tron generates so much resources, and if you
And
combine
Kylo does nothing, so between the two of them, you've got Thrawn and a TIE Fighter.
well, you got logistics, you got all these resources, and you can focus. You got good focus size on Tron, so
Sure.
this could really just, you know, end the game very easily.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting vehicle because to do its special side, it's basically 6. It's 4 to play it, 2 for the special. You need a way to set it up. You need a way to do a lot of damage to a character to get them in range of the special actually meaning something. If they only have 2 damage on them, that special is only 2 damage. So I feel like it's really interesting, man. Like, if you can find something to couple it with, and I don't know if Thrawn Kylo is the answer unless it has other vehicles, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe Thrawn Kylo is the vehicle deck. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I guess one more point with that. This TIE Fighter works really well with Thrawn because you can go into their hand and pull their removal. Because the scariest thing when you put 4 into a support is you roll it and they flank it, and then you're like, well, that really stung.
Yeah, exactly. And in your video, you mentioned like a powerful point, which anyone knows if they play enough card games, is that as the card pool increases, every card needs to be exceedingly good in order to still be justified to go in
Yeah.
your deck. And it also means though that, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but I feel really weird in designing even SOR decks in how difficult it is for me to even justify putting a whole lot of removal in my decks, which is something
Yeah.
that has stunned me because I just like to normally just like powder it up with like 8 or 10 removal cards.
Yep.
Otherwise, I don't feel comfortable.
Right.
But with that being said, since there's already less removal, and then you got stuff like Tron and Friends in Low Places, etc., removal is going to get really difficult, I feel.
Yeah. I got to agree with that one. Yeah. And if it does, then supports really are in a good spot. Things like Hera become just amazing if they could just roll out their supports and not have them get mitigated.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Vader's Advanced TIE Fighter. It looks awesome. It's only a rare. I thought for sure this would be a legendary. It's only a rare. Just kill a half health Palpatine with a rare. No problem. No big deal. All right. Let's look at a praise then. This is a zero cost yellow hero event with really weird art. And it says remove one of your dice, showing a resource, to play a support from your hand, decreasing its cost by 2. What do you think? Is this just a worse version of logistics? Is it a way to have 2 logistics in your deck if you're playing sports? What do you think?
It's not a worse version of logistics. It's just a very different card. I mean, I get it gives 2 resources, but it can be played on modifiers as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you could just remove a worthless modifier resource and then play your vehicle for -2. So I'm sure in a vehicle deck, it could be a very decent card.
Yeah. Another point I talked about on the video was that sometimes, like if your opponent has disrupt showing, I mean, the logistics can't even be played, right? Whereas this just gets right around it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's kind of interesting. So you could basically have a resource showing, play a praise to play an airspeeder for free. Like that's kind of amazing. You're just like, so I have no resources showing. I'll just play an airspeeder. Like, what? I thought I had lots of actions here. What is going on? And what kind of animal is this that Lando's chilling with? It looks like an elephant crossed with a hippo with a cat or something. No, a pig. It's like a potbelly pig, hippo, elephant. That's what we're calling it.
All right.
All right. I don't know how the artist is like, you want me to draw what now? All right. Well, let's move on to Insidious. 1 cost, blue villain support. Oh, we've got the Inquisitor there. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, he's getting out of his ship, ready to jump out and murder some poor Jedi. It says action. Exhaust the support to gain 1 resource. If an opponent's character die is showing a blank. So, what do you think? Terrible
I
or
don't
the
know,
worst card
man.
ever?
I don't know. I can't get excited about this card.
Yeah. It's tough to even imagine a deck where it goes in, right? Like, best case scenario is an SOR emo kids deck running manipulate. Even in that deck, I would not play this.
Well, and it's also one of those deals where it's almost a little bit against the team of, like, your opponent having like, there's already a couple of cards that seems to suggest that, like, okay, villain wants to do some stuff with blanks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's Feel Your Anger, there's Anger.
Yep.
Now there's this card, so there seems to be this kind of theme where, okay, hero has shields and villain has blank manipulation, and it feels like when they do roll blanks, that feels a moment that you want to capitalize on somehow, and
Right.
I'm not sure if I want to waste that action
Yeah.
to get a resource at that point.
Yep. Like you rolled 3 blanks. I could either feel your anger and wreck your whole board, or get a resource. Tough choice.
Close,
And it's
close.
not even as good as I thought it was, which wasn't good. It has to be a character die. I just ignored that phrase because that would be absurd. It was like, it's too strong. We should limit it to just character dice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just the worst version of what was that card set one again? I'm drawing a blank. Ballast the Force? Is that it?
My allies.
No,
I don't know
no.
that one.
But
No, that's a 2-cost one. Sure.
the
Some other bad card.
the one cost. Yeah, whatever.
Some other bad card.
Can't think of it right now.
To me, it's like it's kind of like a really awful version of It Binds All Things.
Yeah.
And people don't really play Binds All Things because it's too specific, and this is way more specific than that. I don't think this is going to see play. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I would love it to see play. I just don't see it. All right, shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah, the best one.
All right. Lead by example. This has some really cool art on it. It is a neutral card, neutral gray. It's an upgrade ability, 2 cost. The sides are not that great. +1 gun, +2 gun, a focus, a resource, and a blank. And it says after you activate attached character, you may activate one of your supports. We've seen this a couple times with Empire at War, where we have these like minor action cheats that have like really low impact on their own, right? Like, all right, I get to activate my support, not resolve it, just activate it. So go ahead and remove it. I don't know. Are you a big fan of these, like, not like minor cheats? I am design wise, but what are you as far as impact?
Yeah, I think it's probably too soon to tell. The card doesn't excite me. Like, yeah, I mean, you can play it with Maz, I guess. Play it on Maz and then
Maz dies.
activate her.
And then Maz dies.
No, you activate her and you have 5 cards in your hand, so then you do launch bay and you roll the +2 so you deal 7 damage, kill a character.
Wow, that sounds pretty good.
That's what's gonna happen.
My issue with putting it on Maz is that she dies. She only has 8 health. If you take 2 resources and stick something on Maz that has impact, they just go, okay, Maz is dead. Cool. All right, now what are we doing?
No, I do think there's a potential that Poe Maz set 3 maybe changes towards vehicle-based Poe, right? I think there's bound to, at some point, appear some lower-cost vehicles that, have an impact. I think looking at set 1 and 2, you're always looking at these 4 and 5 cost vehicles, and you're like, I can't really afford that. If there's some 3 cost or 2 cost or even 1 cost or 0 cost, I don't know. Like if there's
0 cost vehicles, whoa!
If there's some vehicles that you
must be villain.
You can deal damage with, like 2 or 3 damage with, and you can deploy it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There
Yeah,
might be a different deck out there.
Yeah, you do it with the airspeeder.
Yeah, Airspeeder is a good example. Looks like a very good card.
Yeah, I feel like it also is kind of a cool combo card. You could do some really neat things with hit and runs and tactical masteries and stuff like that. I'm really curious to see if we see more possibilities come, right? Like that, who knows, down the line. We could even do this, man. You go like, you put Wingman on a guy, lead by example on both guys. You have 2 supports. You go hit and run, roll them both out. You get to activate 2 supports. They both roll guns, and then you just kill anyone in the game. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, totally. 2 rookie pilots. And Leia.
I don't know about putting this on rookie pilot. I don't know about that.
No, hold on. 2 rookie pilots and Leia. Okay. You put 2 wingmans out. You
Whoa.
put lead by example on Leia.
Oh
Okay.
my.
And then there's what kind of vehicle are we gonna pick? I don't know. There's one or two
Ghost?
strong vehicles on the board, and then you get to do shenanigans with rookie pilots
Uh-huh.
to manipulate the die. You do hit and run, and then you just one-shot your opponent.
Yeah, I like it. I have a hard time believing that by the time this is all set up, both rookie pilots are still alive, but who knows? Maybe, man. Maybe your opponent rolled blanks for 5 turns.
I've been noticing a bias for villains with you.
Wait, what's
you
that?
don't even want to. Yeah, I've been noticing a bias for villain with you. You don't even want to recognize that rookie pilot is better than the stormtrooper.
Whoa, that is one of the craziest things I've ever heard. I don't think the bias towards villains is from me, man. I'm pretty sure I just play whatever's good. I don't care which one's better. That's actually not true. I want Vader to be the best card in the game, along with Yoda. That's what I want, but I play whatever is best. All right. Let's see here. So that is all the spoilers from this past week. Which one of these, if any, do you think will have a big impact on the metagame?
Vader's die.
All right. So do you actually think it will have a big impact, or do you think it has the best chance to?
I think it has a reasonable chance to have a good impact. There's already vehicle decks out there. I think it's another great one in the arsenal. I mean, we're comparing with Slave 1, but it doesn't need to be an or. It could be an and
Sure.
situation. I mean, if imagine if Vader's tie was a hero vehicle, like.
Yeah. That'd be
So
crazy.
I mean, to me, that's what
Oh,
I'm saying,
God.
and it has a very strong power level, and maybe or maybe not. There's a space for it right now, but we haven't seen the whole set yet, and like the fact that we can already definitively say that it would probably be broken in Hero means that it could be broken or it could be meta defining in villain decks, and I might be completely wrong, but that's okay.
Yeah. I tend to think you are wrong, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful it'll make an impact. Just imagine if Finn could bring this in. Then you could go like Finn Poe with this. Ooh. Oh,
Yeah,
that
who
would
knows?
be cool. That would be cool.
Maybe every set they release a different Finn, and it
Yeah.
just has the same stats
Different
except
colors.
a different color.
Yeah, I don't think that would go over that well. So what's been your favorite spoil that we've seen so far? We've seen a lot of them already. What one's your favorite? And why is it Thrawn?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be cliche, but yeah, Tron's ability is what competitive people dream of, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, you know what's in their hand, you know, you get rewarded for guessing their best card.
Yep.
It has resource generation, which means it has ramp, which means that dice rolls become less influential because you have more dice on the board. So yeah, I mean, I would have really loved to see Tron's ability on a lower cost character,
Yeah, me too.
but I'll still take him.
Yeah,
He's still good.
I really wish his ability had been on like a 10-13 with a pretty bad die. I think that would have been really cool and opened up some very interesting avenues. I think the best Thrawn deck is single die Thrawn, single die Awakenings Vader. You get leadership, you get 25 health. It's amazing, man. It's amazing.
It's actually a mill deck.
Yeah, definitely mill deck. It's 2 just from activating.
Exactly.
It's the slowest mill deck ever, but it is a mill deck.
Is there any mill cards? I mean, I guess we could. Yeah, we can run Mind Probe. We just play Mind Probe, and
there you go.
we used Tron's focus to the Mind Probe to discard.
Yeah,
I can see it.
This deck sounds awesome. Just amazing. Um, I think for me, my favorite is still probably Hera. Hera just looks amazingly good to me. It's hard for me to not love her. She's nice and cheap. That 912 is just so intriguing. You could play a 5-die Hera vehicle deck. I don't know. That has me excited. I don't know if it's going to be great, but it has me really excited.
My problem with Hera is twofold. Number one is, think of a Poe deck where you don't have Moss. And,
Okay.
like, you don't really feel too comfortable running it. You could run it with Rey and it'd be decent. But I still have nightmares going back to Season 1 where I was in the final against the Jabba Dooku, and I couldn't do any damage for probably 2 or 3 rounds. Because
Sure.
I was just not rolling that special. And
Yeah.
everything else was getting absorbed. And so Hera has 2 less HP. I know she's only 12, so it's not fair to compare. But, so my first thing would be only 1 special makes me nervous.
Definitely.
Second, what makes me nervous is that if she is the underpinning of your deck, people are going to realize it. And
Yeah. She'll be dead.
if you look at the current meta, yeah, exactly. If you look at the current meta, emo kits and FN Unkar, if not by round 1, by round 2, they will kill a 12 or less HP character.
Yeah.
50% of the time, at least.
It feels like 150% of the time when I'm playing against it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it can always go south, but like, there's so much damage potential, and even Luke Ray can. Okay, just like my ally is the Force. Okay, now we deal
9.
9 damage, and you're gone.
Yep.
There's just no counterplay. So that's where I'm like. That's why I said, when I was talking about Gencon, like, I want to have HP, and so yes, Hera does allow for a 3-character comp, but unlike Ankar, which kind of fuels an engine, and you still have other characters like Efen that pose the threat, so it becomes a really difficult choice where you're going to target.
Yeah.
With Hera, I think it becomes obvious. There's not this lightning rod that I've seen so far, and maybe it gets spoiled,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen this lightning rod that if you spend 12 points on Hera, that people are like, oh no, I don't want to go Hera.
Right.
I want to go after the other character.
Yep. I think you have 2 choices. On the one hand, you can go something like Elite Hera, Elite Maz, Ezra, and then you have like all the amazing things, except for you have this incredibly fragile backbone. Or you can go 12, 18 and just put in a Juggernaut with her. The problem is, like you said, I don't think we have anything that synergizes really well with this whole vehicle make resources setup at 18. But we might.
It might come, yeah. But I wouldn't, there's Poe, but Poe Maz is better than Poe Hera, I think. I might be wrong.
I know, I don't think you're wrong. I think you're right.
So, yeah, I mean, she's interested. She's definitely very fairly costed. She has a really amazing ability.
Han, man, it's Han. It's Hera Han.
Oh, how could I have missed it?
20
You think it's
health.
going to make Enigma switch?
20 health, man. Yeah, this is Enigma's new deck. Easy. Tell him I said, you're welcome. Yeah, I think Hera's exciting, but Thrawn is definitely interesting. Thrawn is so weird, though, not having damage sides, not having mill sides. It's just like, hey, I'm going to get some resources, I'm going to deprive you of doing things, and then hopefully I'm going to make stuff happen. I'm 17 cost, so my partner is kind of crappy, and hopefully it's not Kylo, because he's a bucket of crud. So yeah, let's do this.
I've already proxied up some stuff and played a little bit with Sean Kylo, and
Yeah.
it's been looking promising. Because the resources are so powerful in this game, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me back, playing with Tron kind of takes me back to Season 1, 2 hired gun decks. Kind of like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just going to build a board presence.
Right.
Okay, I don't have the stats necessarily in my characters, but I'm going to build the stats. That's what
Yeah.
I think of when I see Tron. Whether it's with Kylo or it's with Ankar, even Ankar is even more crazy. Like, Ankar, you can...
Yeah.
I mean, you have potential 8 resources on the board, round 1.
Yeah. That's
So
the one
you
that
could start with
intrigues
10.
me.
You know, you
Unkar
start with...
Thrawn is really cool sounding.
I mean, that's you don't want to run Palpatine anymore at that point, you know?
Yeah.
That's I almost guarantee round 1. I feel bad. Like, it's a good thing that Crime Lord right now is in the meta, but last Sunday, my last Tour Championship, there was an Ankar Jabba deck, and sure enough, round 1 was Palpatine against Ankar. Round
Woo.
1, Crime Lord.
Oh
Done.
my. That's that is called a sad day.
The guy was so angry.
Yeah. I would be a
That
little
was funny.
frustrated also.
But yeah, I mean that's yeah. If Jabba Ankar can pull it off round 1, Tron Ankar will definitely pull it off round 1.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have way more resources, but you get to pick out the removal.
Yeah.
And you can know if it's a good play to make.
Yep. I wonder if another deck that we're kind of overlooking is the one die Thrawn, to be able to put in 2 other hired gun like dudes that have multiple resource sides. So if we could have basically that guarantee of like, I'm gonna hit a lot of resources here, turns 1 and 2, that could be really terrifying.
That could be very interesting. If there's something out there that has high HP, and you got 17, right? So that's a 9 and an 8. So I could see something at 8,
Wait, what?
like 8.
A 9 and an 8? You only have
Cost-wise.
16. Because he's
Oh,
14.
I see 14?
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, 2 8s.
Yeah, 2 8s or a trooper and a 9, which isn't bad either.
Yeah. So, and I feel you could go completely overboard with Tron, right? You could even run logistics.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I would definitely run logistics. Are you kidding me? I would want to go enrage and logistics in this deck and just be like, let it rain.
How about you put Imperial Discipline in it?
Why wouldn't you, man? You would of course put that in.
I just go for the 2 resources.
Yeah, you just roll that, flip Thrawn. In fact, I think that's an auto include in like the elite one. My goodness, you put 2 Imperial Disciplines turn 1. That's you just flip them both to resources, and you're like, there's 4 resources. Cool. All right, let's do this. I'm gonna get 4 resources every turn. Yeah.
And you know what's interesting about Tron as well is that it kind of shifts the paradigm of removal. Because usually when we think about removal, like we think, like if you're playing against Vader, okay, you probably remove any die. If you play against Poe, you want to remove any die,
Yeah.
just because you don't want the action cheating. But any other deck, usually it feels painful to have to remove a discard. It feels painful to have to remove a disrupt.
Yep.
It feels painful to have to remove a resource,
Yep.
right? And so now you're looking at Tron, you're like, do I need to spend my removal on resources? It feels weird.
Yeah, and you know what I think I would also play with this is bait and switch. Because if you can go, you roll the 2 resources, and you're like, yes, I am the man. I have 2 resources. You can bait and switch into a 2 focus side that lets you focus and then resolve. That could be 6 damage.
All in, baby.
Man, there's so many possibilities with Thrawn. I like where your head's at, that he does feel like, you know, the pro card that the top players can really get the most mileage out of. You know the meta well. You know what's in that deck your opponent's playing. You know what they need to see early, and you can pluck that. Whew! He is going to be good for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you know their hands, you can plot out the rest of your turn without any difficulties.
Yep, you sure can. All right, Elrathion. I think we're going to move to the wrap-up phase here. I'm really excited for Gencon. If you see me at Gencon, say hi. Don't be shy. Come say hi. I will not be wearing my hat. Someone asked me if I will be wearing my hat to Gen Con. I won't be. I won't be, man. I don't wear my hat to Gen Con. I'm still trying to figure out some sort of get-together. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to be really busy at Gen Con. It may be impromptu. So if you are a Patreon, person, get on the Discord channel. If you're not, why aren't you? No, I get it. I get it. I understand $1 a month is a lot, and I'm not saying that facetiously. That's really generous of anyone who contributes. So Elrathion, where can people find you on the internet?
Knights of Ren, Art of Fishery Discord, and Facebook.
Okay, sounds good. And you can find me at Tiny Grimes YouTube. I don't have a cool thing. You can find me on Patreon, Tiny Grimes. And by the way, I do want to thank Cody M, Jake A, Steve H, and Eric S for contributing so much to the show. It's incredibly generous of you guys. You can find me on Tiny Grimes Games on Twitter. I'll be tweeting a lot more than usual when I'm at Gen Con. When I'm not at my computer, I feel this need to connect. Like when I was off on vacation, I think I tweeted out like a double rainbow or something. Like, I'm not a double rainbow tweeting kind of guy. It just popped out of me. So, yeah. And Elrathion, I will be thinking of you at Gen Con and winning it for you. It'll be dedicated to you, man.
I feel special.
All right. And I hope this tournament this weekend... Is there a cap on it? Could it be like 200 people?
We have a soft cap at 75, 80 people, but, if somebody desperately wants to join, I don't think I'm going to deny them entry.
All right. So bottom line is, get on now if you want in.
Yeah, 15 spots left officially.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. And
thank you.
We'll see you all next time on The Smuggler's Den.